A lot of women out here are trying to figure out if the man they're with really cares about them. They want to know if they're special, if they're the one who's got his heart. See, a man can say a lot of things, but what truly matters is what he shares with you. Let me tell you something. When a man opens up his world to you, that's no small thing. Men are naturally protective about what's inside of them, their emotions, their fears, their dreams. We've been raised to be strong, to never show weakness. But when a man looks at you and says, "Let me tell you something I've never told anybody," you better listen, because that right there, that's love in action. If he shares his pain with you, it means he trusts you. He's saying, "You're safe for me. I can let my guard down here." And trust me, a man doesn't give that easily. That's something he protects more than his money, his house, or his car. He protects his heart. When he shares his dreams with you, he's saying, "I see you in my future." Because no man includes someone in his dreams unless he can see them standing beside him when those dreams come true. That's his silent way of saying, "You matter. You belong here." And when he shares his time, don't overlook that. Time is the one thing a man can never get back. If he's giving you that, if he's choosing to spend his free moments talking to you, laughing with you, or just sitting next to you doing nothing, that's his heart speaking louder than his words ever could. A real man doesn't just share what's easy. He shares what's real, his mistakes, his lessons, his journey, because he's not trying to impress you anymore. He's trying to connect with you. That's when you know it's real. So ladies, remember this. If a man shares his truth, his fears, his future, his peace, and his time with you, you are not just another person in his life. You are someone special. You're the one who made him feel safe enough to be seen. And that's the rarest gift of all. People always say love is complicated, but the truth is it's not as complicated as we make it. It's actually pretty simple when you know what to look for. When a man truly cares about a woman, he doesn't just show it with gifts, compliments, or promises. He shows it with what he shares. And if he's sharing the deepest parts of himself with you, that's when you know you're special to him. Because a man doesn't share just anything with just anybody. He shares when he feels safe, when he feels understood, and when he believes you won't judge him for what's behind that strong exterior. See, most men grow up being told to be tough, to hide their emotions, to never cry, to never show weakness. We're taught to fix things, not feel them. So when a man finally meets a woman who allows him to be real, who listens without judgment, something inside him changes. He starts letting his guard down piece by piece. That's when he begins to open up about the things that really matter to him. The struggles, the fears, the doubts he's carried for years, but never had the courage to say out loud. And that right there is a sacred moment. It means he's not pretending anymore. He's being himself. When he tells you about his past, maybe about the mistakes he's made or the times he failed, that's not weakness. That's trust. He's showing you a side of himself that the world doesn't get to see. He's saying, here's who I really am, not the version everyone else sees. And if you handle that with care, if you make him feel seen and respected even in his imperfections, you become more than just someone he's dating. You become someone he truly values. Then there's the part about dreams. When a man starts talking about where he wants to go in life, the things he wants to achieve, the future he's building, and he includes you in that conversation. That's not small talk. That's him placing you in his future. That's him saying, I see us going somewhere, because men don't make long-term plans with short-term people. When he starts saying, instead of, I pay attention, that's a heart-level commitment without even needing to say the words. And you know what else? Time. Time is one of the biggest signs that you mean something to him. A man's time is valuable. Between work, responsibilities, and his own goals, time is something he doesn't give lightly. So if he's spending his evenings with you, calling you just to hear your voice, making sure you feel cared for, that's his love language. That's him saying, I want to be where you are. You don't have to ask for his attention because he gives it naturally when you're special to him. There's also this subtle shift that happens when a man truly lets you in. He stops trying to impress you. In the beginning, every man wants to show his best side, his achievements, his strengths, his charm. But when he starts showing you the unfiltered version of himself, when he talks about what scares him, what confuses him, or what keeps him up at night, that's real intimacy, because that's not about impressing anymore. That's about connecting. And when a man shares his peace with you, meaning he lets you into his quiet moments, the parts of his life where he rests, reflects, or just wants to be still, that's a powerful sign too. He's saying, you calm me. You're not chaos, you're comfort. You become the person who gives him balance in a world that constantly demands he be strong. So when a man shares his emotions, his struggles, his dreams, his time, and his peace, you can stop wondering where you stand. Because men don't share that kind of truth with just anyone. It means he's found something rare in you: safety, understanding, and real love. And that's when you know, without him even saying it, that you're special to him. When a man shares his dreams with you, that's not something to take lightly. You see, dreams are sacred to a man. They're the things he protects the most, the quiet goals he thinks about when nobody's around. Every man has a vision inside him. It could be building a business, achieving success, taking care of his family, or becoming a better version of himself. But he doesn't talk about those dreams with just anybody. He talks about them with someone he trusts, someone he believes will understand his purpose, instead of laughing at it. So when he starts telling you about where he wants to go in life, it's a sign that he's letting you into the private world of his future. That's a big deal because most men only show people their present, not the things they're still building. When a man truly cares for a woman, he starts to imagine her being part of his journey. He begins to see her standing beside him in those future moments he dreams about, the victories, the milestones, the quiet days after all the hard work. He's not just seeing his success, he's seeing your presence in it. That's why he talks to you about his plans. He's testing not just your support, but your energy. He wants to know if you believe in him the way he's starting to believe in himself. Because when a man finds a woman who believes in his dreams, that's fuel for his soul. It gives him strength to keep pushing, even when life gets tough. You can tell when it's real because he doesn't just talk about goals in a shallow way. He starts sharing details, his fears about failing, the steps he wants to take, and the doubts that keep him up at night. He's not looking for you to fix it. He's looking for you to understand it. That's how deep connection forms. When a man can be open about his purpose and still feel accepted, that's when he knows he's got something rare. And pay attention, because a man who includes you in his plans is silently saying, I see a future with you. He may not say it directly, but every time he uses what instead of I, every time he says things like when we move, when we travel, or when we build this, that's his heart speaking. Men aren't always expressive with words like women are, but they show their intentions through their language and their actions. When you start to hear those subtle signs of inclusion, that's his way of claiming you as part of his long-term vision. Sometimes a man will open up about dreams that seem far away, almost impossible. That's when your reaction matters most. If you laugh at him, dismiss his ideas, or make him feel small, he'll close off again. But if you listen, if you encourage him, if you tell him that he's capable, that small act can change everything. Because deep down, every man wants to feel like the woman he loves believes in his potential. He can fight the world, but he can't fight for his purpose if the person closest to him doesn't see his worth. When he shares his dreams with you, He's not just giving you words, he's giving you a glimpse of his soul. He's revealing the things that make him come alive. And that kind of honesty comes from trust. It's him saying, I can show you the parts of me that aren't perfect yet, and I know you'll still be there. That's love in its purest form. Not the kind that's about romance and passion, but the kind that's built on partnership, understanding, and belief. So when he tells you about his ambitions, his plans, his hopes, and his future, understand that he's placing something precious in your hands. Don't take it for granted. Support him, stand beside him, and let him know that his vision matters. Because when a man shares his dreams with you, it's not just talk. It's a promise that he sees you as part of his destiny. Time is one of the most powerful signs of how a man truly feels about you. See, a man's time is his life. It's the one thing he can never get back once he gives it. Money can be replaced, possessions can be earned again, but time is a piece of his existence. So when a man chooses to spend his time with you, that's not an accident and it's not casual. That's intentional. That's him saying, you matter to me, and it's often louder than any words he could ever say. A man can tell you he loves you, but if he's always too busy, always unavailable, always distracted, those words lose their meaning. The truth is, men prioritize what they care about. If he's truly into you, he'll make time, not because he has to, but because he wants to. He'll carve out moments in his schedule just to talk to you, see you, or simply be around you. He'll rearrange things. He'll sacrifice sleep. He'll delay other plans because your presence brings him peace. And when a man gives you that kind of time, he's giving you something sacred, a piece of his energy, his focus, and his attention. You'll notice it in the little things. He checks in on you during the day, not because he's obligated, but because you're on his mind. He listens when you talk, really listens, because he's not just hearing your words. He's trying to understand your world. He'll spend hours doing something simple with you, like watching a movie or going for a walk, because it's not about the activity. It's about the connection. When a man invests his time in you, he's showing that he enjoys your company more than anything else happening around him. And let's be honest, time is a man's way of revealing his priorities. If he's only around when it's convenient or when he needs something, that's not love. That's circumstance. But if he's consistent, if he keeps showing up for you, even when life gets busy or stressful, that's love in action. That's him saying, you're worth my effort. Men don't waste time on things they don't value. So if he's sharing his days, his evenings, his moments of rest with you, that's his way of saying you're part of his peace. There's also a deeper layer to this. When a man gives you his time, he's letting you into his personal space, the parts of his life where he's not performing for anyone. You see him when he's tired, when he's unfiltered, when he's not trying to impress anyone. That's when you start to see who he really is. And if he lets you see him in that space, that's a level of comfort that doesn't come easily. He's saying, you can be here even when I'm not at my best. That's how real bonds are formed, through shared time, not perfect moments. Sometimes a man's way of showing love isn't through grand gestures, but through presence, just being there. Maybe he doesn't have the perfect words. Maybe he's not overly expressive, but he shows up. He's there when you need someone to talk to. He's there when you're silent. He's there when life feels heavy. And even when you don't realize it, he's making time for you because that's how he connects. So when you notice a man consistently giving you his time, protecting those moments with you, and choosing you over distractions, understand that it's not just about attention. It's about emotional investment. It's his unspoken way of saying, you're part of my life now. That's how a man loves, not just through words, but through his willingness to give you something he can never get back, his time. When a man begins to reveal his flaws, his fears, and the parts of himself that he normally keeps hidden, It's not a small thing. It's a moment of truth. Men are raised to hide weakness, to wear confidence like armor, to face the world without showing the cracks beneath the surface. So when a man starts to open up about the things he's ashamed of, the mistakes he's made, or the fears that keep him up at night, it's a sign that he feels something real. He's saying, without words, I trust you enough to see me as I am, not as I pretend to be. That's not just vulnerability. That's deep emotional safety. And it only happens when a man feels truly connected to a woman's soul. You can tell a man feels safe with you when he stops filtering what he says. He doesn't have to be the hero all the time. He doesn't have to prove himself or act like he has all the answers. Instead, he starts being honest about his doubts, his pain, and even the things that scare him about love. It takes courage for a man to do that because the world teaches him that vulnerability equals weakness. But when he's with the right woman, that mindset starts to fade. He realizes he can drop the act, that he can be human and still be respected. When he opens up about his past, maybe about heartbreak, failure, or times when he didn't feel good enough, it means he's trying to show you where he's been. Not for sympathy, but for understanding. He wants you to know what shaped him, what broke him, and what rebuilt him. Because when a man shares that kind of truth, he's not looking for judgment. He's looking for someone who can see him fully and still stay. That's the difference between someone he dates and someone he truly connects with. And sometimes he might struggle to express it perfectly. He might pause, stumble, or hold back before letting it out, because for men, that level of honesty doesn't come naturally. It's a slow process. But once he does it, it means he's chosen you as his safe place. That's when you stop being just someone he likes. You become someone he trusts deeply. You become his emotional home. And when a man finds that he values it more than anything else, because emotional safety is the one thing most men don't find easily. The way you respond in those moments matters. If you laugh, judge, or dismiss what he's sharing, he'll shut down again. But if you listen, if you show empathy and understanding, if you remind him that his flaws don't make him unworthy of love, he'll never forget that. That's when a man bonds emotionally. That's when he realizes, I can be myself here. And that realization is what makes him stay. When a man shares his fears with you, he's not trying to scare you away. He's testing whether you can handle the truth of who he is. It's his way of asking, can you love me even when I'm not strong? Because love that only exists in strength isn't real. Real love exists in honesty. When he shows you the parts of himself that aren't polished or perfect, he's inviting you to love him in the most genuine way possible. So when a man starts revealing his flaws and fears, see it for what it is, an act of trust. It's him handing you his truth and hoping you'll handle it with care. And when you do, when you meet his honesty with acceptance, something powerful happens. He feels seen. He feels understood. He feels at peace. And that's when he knows you're not just someone in his life. You're the one who makes him feel safe enough to finally be himself. Emotional openness in a man doesn't come easily. It takes a lot for him to reach that place where he feels comfortable enough to be honest about what's going on inside. Society tells men to be strong, to hold it together, to never show emotion. So most of them learn to keep everything bottled up. The pain, the frustration, the disappointment, even the love. But when a man meets someone who makes him feel safe enough to express what's truly in his heart, that's when everything changes. That's when walls start to come down. That's when he begins to speak, not from pride, but from truth. When a man becomes emotionally open, it means he stopped worrying about how you'll see him. He's not putting on a performance. He's sharing reality. You'll notice it when he starts to say things like, I've been struggling lately, or I don't know what to do next, or even when he admits that he's scared. For most men, those words are harder to say than I love you, because to be open emotionally means to risk rejection. It means showing the parts of himself that don't look strong or perfect. So when he chooses to do that with you, it's not weakness. It's trust. It's him saying, I believe you'll still see me the same even after you've seen my truth. Or emotional openness also means he's letting you in on how he feels about you. A man might not always express love with dramatic words, but he'll start telling you things that come from the heart. He'll tell you when he misses you, when he's grateful for you, or when he's proud of you. Those may sound like small statements, but for a man, they're huge. That's him lowering the guard, showing appreciation, and acknowledging how deeply you affect him. When a man reaches that stage, it's because he respects you. And respect in a man's world is one of the highest forms of love. When a man respects you enough to be honest, he's saying you've earned his truth. That's a level of connection that can't be faked. He's not just sharing his good moods, he's sharing his lows too. He lets you see him when he's tired, frustrated, or confused. That's real intimacy. The kind that's built on understanding instead of perfection. Because love isn't about being flawless, it's about being authentic. And authenticity is what creates emotional connection. If you listen to him without judgment, if you don't throw his feelings back at him or make him regret being real, he'll open up more and more. That's how trust grows. Most men are starving for that, a place where they can drop the armor and not be criticized for being human. When a woman gives a man that kind of emotional freedom, she becomes unforgettable. Because to him, she's not just another person, she's peace. She's the one he doesn't have to pretend around. You'll know when it's happening because you'll feel the shift. He'll stop holding back. He'll talk about his family, his past, his dreams, and even his insecurities. He'll start sharing how certain things make him feel, instead of hiding behind silence or humor. It's not easy for him, but he's doing it because he values you. He sees you as someone who deserves his truth. And once a man starts expressing himself openly, he becomes more connected, more grounded, and more committed. So when a man starts to open up emotionally, don't take it for granted. Don't rush it or push it away. Understand that it's one of the most genuine gifts he can offer. It's his heart learning to speak. It's him showing that you're not just a part of his life. You're part of his inner world. And when that happens, you're not just someone he likes. You become someone he trusts deeply, respects completely, and loves honestly. You know, one of the most powerful signs that you are special to a man is when he chooses honesty over perfection. When a man no longer feels the need to impress you, when he stops trying to be the version of himself that the world expects and instead shows you the truth of who he really is. That's when it's real. It means he values your connection more than his image. It means he's comfortable enough to let you see not just his strength, but also his uncertainty, his mistakes, and his imperfections. That's the point when a man stops pretending and starts being genuine. And that's something rare. Men often feel pressure to be flawless, to always know the right thing to say, to always appear confident and strong. From a young age, they're taught that vulnerability equals weakness. So when a man chooses to be honest, even when it makes him look imperfect, that's not weakness at all. That's courage. It's his way of saying, I'd rather you know the real me than the version I could fake. Because pretending can win attention, but truth builds love. And once a man decides he wants something real, he'll stop hiding behind masks. You'll see it in the way he talks to you. He won't sugarcoat everything or tell you only what you want to hear. Instead, he'll tell you the truth, even when it's uncomfortable. Maybe he'll admit when he's wrong. Maybe he'll share when he's struggling, or maybe he'll be honest about his past. It's not easy for a man to do that because honesty risks judgment. But if he's being open, it's because he believes you can handle the truth. He respects you enough not to build your connection on lies or half-truths. And that level of honesty means he's serious about you. When a man chooses honesty over perfection, He's inviting you to see his real character, not just how charming he can be, but how accountable he is. He's showing you that he doesn't want to play games. He wants something solid, something he can build on. A man who can say, I messed up, I'm scared, or I'm not sure what I'm doing, but I'm trying, is showing you his heart in a way that most men never do. He's letting you know he's human. And in love, humanity matters more than perfection ever could. This kind of honesty also creates emotional closeness. When he's open about his thoughts and feelings, you start to see him not as an image, but as a person. That's when connection deepens. He starts trusting that he doesn't have to hide from you. And when you respond with understanding instead of criticism, he feels accepted. Not for what he can do or how strong he seems, but for who he truly is. That's when a man feels seen. That's when love becomes a safe space, not a performance. Sometimes a man might fear that being honest will make him look weak or unworthy. But when you prove that his honesty only makes your bond stronger, it changes him. He becomes more open, more expressive, and more committed, because now he knows he's not loved for the mask he wears, but for the truth he carries inside. That kind of love gives a man freedom, the freedom to be real. And when a man can be real with you, that's when he gives you his loyalty, because truth and loyalty always go hand in hand. So when a man stops trying to impress you and starts being transparent with you, understand what's happening. He's showing you trust, vulnerability, and respect all at once. He's saying, you're the one I can be myself with. And that's rare. Many people will only ever meet the version of him that he shows the world. But if you've met the version that's honest, imperfect, and real, then you've met the side of him that belongs only to someone special.